Alrighty, so here we are. This is my first hangout, so if there's glitches, sorry. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and look at what the hell is going on the page itself. If not, I'll use Twitter, so there's that. And of course, on the page itself. If not, I'll use Twitter, so there's that. And of course, she leaves that window open too, so okay. I don't even know if there's a chat on this hangout, so let me see if there is. I don't know if that. I don't know if that. Alrighty, I guess yes. There is tinfoil mat. See. Can you hear me? Okay, cool, terrific. So if you're just bear with me here because I'm changing tabs all over and over and shit. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and try and go through some of these objections and some of these things that I've heard before. To start with, here's the low-hanging fruit stuff. And obviously, if you don't know what the hell's going on, Carl and I had it out, and on the issue of censorship. And I've had some people. There's one person in particular, that ain't no fact, who is, we were talking earlier about evidence, and and not this person, right? That ain't no fact is not the person that has this problem. The issue was one of whether or not Carl provided evidence, and well, yes, just not any evidence that supported his contention, and in no way, shape, or form anywhere near enough evidence, even if I would grant the idea, the notion that there's a conspiracy afoot by feminists. Now, this is tangential to the actual issue, which a lot of people seem to, maybe you just don't understand words, some people. The idea is that if you are going to say, well, we're going to do this petition, right? We got this petition going. First, forget about, well, no. It doesn't matter how specific or vague he was in his petition. If you're going to say that the social justice warriors are doing all sorts of shit at universities, you're going to have to prove that. And a couple of video clips, or 10 or 20 video clips, and some stories you heard from your friends, that ain't gonna fucking cut it. The fact is, if a feminist came to you, or you know what? If any woman comes to you and says that, look, I've been raped, I want evidence that supports the notion that she's been raped. It's maybe horrible for the woman or the man or whatever, but I want that evidence. It's very simple. And if you tell me, well, I've got some video clips, and some video clips of what? Stories about what? As it stands, and I saw the evidence. This is a thing that ain't no fact was talking about. Well, how can you dismiss the evidence if you haven't seen it? No one ever dismissed that evidence. No one dismissed that evidence. Carl presented it. and we said, well, yeah, this is a teacher doing this. I have no idea if Thunderfoot tweeted some shit about this. I am I just I just got here, and I haven't checked Twitter in a bit, so I'm not sure if Thunderfoot tweeted something about this. But see, here's the thing: when you say I have evidence of this, or no, sorry, when you say I have evidence, okay, of what? Of what? Because if it's not fucking pertinent evidence, then you're just jerking me off. And in those videos, and I'm just for a second granting that I trust the provenance of the videos and that I trust what?
By the way, that's Maddie.
Yeah.
Tinfoil.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying for a second that I'm gonna trust what Carl has to say, despite the fact that the evidence that he presented is from is from Lauren Southern, I think, is one of the videos. And the other thing is I have to listen and believe that his friends, Carl's friends, had some horrible experience at a university. And for a little bit, for shits and giggles, let's pretend that I think that all this evidence is legit. Let's just pretend. Then what do you have evidence of? Well, this professor is giving a lecture. Okay. Well, there's evidence of indoctrination. Wait a minute. Do you know what the fuck indoctrination means? That shit is hours and hours of agonizing, fucking painful shit, sleep deprivation, the repetition of slogans and phrases. Now, you can make the claim that maybe something similar to that at some lower level is going on at a university, right? You might say to me, well, look, they go to classes twice a week. They hear the same shit. They go to the student union and they hang out with their friends from that class and they hear the same shit. They have to write a paper and they have to do this research to write the paper, and every piece of research that they have to use says that shit, right? Says the 1 in 5 or 77 cents or whatever the fuck it is, wage gap shit. And mind you, if you take a look at what's going on, I'm making Carl's argument for him. If you go ahead and say that this is what's happening, right? Then I have to say to you, all right, well, so in this argument, and what you're saying is that indoctrination is XYZ, and what's going on at the uni is very similar or exactly the same as that. Well, you're going to need evidence for that. You're going to need statistical evidence. You're going to have what amounts to an experiment or a survey or something other than, well, I got a video of a professor giving a lecture about some dumb shit, and I got a couple of stories from some friends of mine. Because you know what? I got a couple of stories about Donald Trump, and he's on record saying what some people say is racist shit. Oh, well, so now Donald Trump is involved in some kind of conspiracy with all the other people who say racist shit to do XYZ, to do something. Because if the standard of evidence is a couple of videos, see, that's the thing. If you want to get into it, if the standard of evidence is a couple of videos and some stories, well, then every time that Man Titties on his website says that you're a racist douchebag, right? When he says it about Carl, or when he says it about all of these other guys that he's talked about before, then I got to take it at face value, right? Because the level of evidence is a couple of videos and some stories. Well, if the evidence is a couple of videos and some stories, then whenever I get that, I got to agree with the entire thing. You see what I'm saying? It's pretty fucking simple. They should at least use some lube. It's okay, I'm not cut, so like I've got the skin for that. But look, the fact is that whatever evidence Carl thinks he has, it doesn't prove what his contention is, and that is that there's some form of, even if this wasn't tinfoil hat nut jobbery, even if this wasn't fucking contrail level, Alex Jones level conspiracy. Even if it wasn't, it is, but even if it wasn't, you still don't have the evidence. Fuck me. Alex Jones has provided more evidence for some of his crazy shit than this motherfucker has here. So either don't make that contention, which you don't even have to make, by the way, because in both streams, Willie Bumblebee and I both stated unequivocally that, well, yes, social justice people are a problem at universities, and there should be some method to curtail the stuff that might be bad, and to force professors to teach this shit, to actually know the statistics, whatever it is. There should be mechanisms in place to provide this kind of what somebody mentioned, I think they called it quality control. That's fucking terrific. There should be. I have no problem with that. But see, that's where Carl wants you to go. Carl, that's the issue, when that's not the issue. That's never been the issue. Carl wants you to think that. Carl is always talking shit about that, because the real issue is something that he can't fucking touch. And that is that when you censor somebody, or that censorship is when you prevent people from saying what they think or want to say or need to say or think is true. That's what it is. That's what it matters not one little bit. If it's the government that does it, or your boss that does it, or your husband that does it, or your wife, that doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And what you're saying doesn't fucking matter. Is it right or wrong? Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter even a little bit. When you prevent people from speaking their mind, that's censorship. When you prevent them from writing that book, that's censorship. When you go into that book and take out page 3, page 9, page 18, that's censorship. Carl would have you believe that it's only when the government does it. And that's just bullshit. That's just bullshit. I have been myself, I have written papers and shit that I knew that if I put in this paragraph, it's not gonna get published, or it's not gonna, or I'm gonna get an F, or some other shit like that is gonna happen. I am not the only person. Sometimes professors do it to you, and that's a problem, and it needs to be addressed. Sometimes the university does it to you. Sometimes your institutions do it to you. In fact, we've had cases where, specifically like that, what was that thing that fucker right in the pussy? The guy got fired from his job. Some dude got fired from his job because his friend said some dumb shit. Because his friend did it. That wasn't, and everybody was all over the place on that shit. And rightly so. Rightly fucking so. Carl doesn't want you to discuss this. Carl doesn't want to discuss this because he knows that examples where he would be wrong are plentiful. And I have never been shy about it, and I have never ever changed this position. Right? If the KKK wants a rally and they want to shout nigger, 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 and they want to say motherfuckers are made of mud, God hates them all, they bear the mark of Cain, or whatever the fuck bullshit they want to say, it's their right to say it. I don't like it. I may not think it's nice. I may think it's downright hurtful, harmful to their cause. They have a right to say it. If you start taking away the right of people to say shit, it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter where you start. You're going to end up with 1984. And the only way to equate, to reconcile, for Carl to reconcile his position, that his petition is not about censorship, it's about something else, and the fact that it is double think. So he's already there. He's already there. He's thinking to mutually exclusive thoughts. And the fact is that we did this. We went over this. in effect, what is going to happen, what has to happen, based on Carl's and other people's own assertions about what social justice is and what gender studies is or whatever, what that stuff is this propaganda, right? They're brainwashing you, right? Well then, because on Carl's view, it's just political speech that's supposed to be, right, taken out of these social justice courses, right? That's what we're talking about, right? This notion that it's censorship only if the government does it, right? And only if it's political speech. Well, by your definition, if they're indoctrinating people, it's propaganda, right? Which means that whatever the social justice people are saying would be eligible for censorship. It's political speech, right? And the fact is that if you want to hold these social justice people to a higher standard than they hold themselves, that's terrific. That's fine. But if you're saying that that standard must be met before these classes can be taught, that's censorship. Imagine you have a little retarded kid, or you say, Carl, you can have a lollipop if you pass this IQ test. And you know for a fact they're not going to be able to pass the IQ test. Or they're going to score a particular thing. You don't pass an IQ test, but you got to score, 150 on the IQ test to be able to get the lollipop. You know for damn sure that the kid can't fucking score 150. So really what you're saying is I ain't giving you shit. It's an impossible criteria for social justice to reach. So the idea that you're going to suspend the course until it's cleaned up really is bullshit. You're not suspending it until it's cleaned up. It can never be cleaned up enough for you. It can't. And you know it can't because you already characterize it as a religion, as an ideology, as hate speech. How can that ever possibly reach that scientific level of certainty where everything's right, where they've done due diligence and the peer review process has been respected and shit has gone on the way it's supposed to have gone on? What you're saying is you want to censor them. And I'm stuck with trying to make Carl's argument for him, which I can't because it's bullshit, or assuming that he's a fucking moron. I'm sorry to say, but that's how that was the entirety of the fucking problem. And for those people that are like, well, you went into it knowing, no. You don't fucking know what I went into that discussion with. You don't know. You make these fucking assumptions, right? I chimped out, according to one dude on YouTube. Let's put aside for a second the possibly less than racially sensitive, let's say, nature of that little comment. So the fuck what? So the fuck what? I laid it out. I said this is what I'm saying. And Carl said he didn't care. Carl brings up the point that the reason that he's doing this is because, or one of the reasons is because college students are being hurt financially by this. And Carl's stupid. He doesn't understand how a university works. I explained to him in the first stream, look, universities have a particular way of dealing with people who don't want a course. So if you sign up for a course and you don't like it, you go to, on the first day you don't like it, or on the first and second day, or second and third day, you have time to drop that class where it doesn't even appear on your transcript, where you get all your money back. Then you get like 75% of your money back, and then 50% and 25% on a sliding scale based on how long you waited to drop the class. And they also have a method by which either the class does not appear at all on your transcript, or if like you made it to half the semester, then you get like a withdrawal, right? Or an incomplete or something like that, that's then listed on your transcript. Universities have these mechanisms in place because universities are businesses. So if you have a complaint about the course material, And then I think V then moved the goalposts. Well, what if they switched books on you in half the semester? And then I explained that. See, you keep moving the goalposts. You keep making me kick farther and farther and farther. The problem is that none of the objections that these two motherfuckers raised have any fucking validity to them. They don't. He has no evidence to back up the claim that there's a conspiracy. He has no support for the contention that he's doing it for the benefit of the college students, who apparently are really stupid and can't tell the difference, and who are really stupid and haven't read their college handbook, and who are really stupid and haven't read the university bylaws, which outline the procedures for you to appeal a grade or drop a course or dispute some letter grade from some exam or some paper. I read all that when I went into college. I read the college handbook and the bylaws and all the rest of it. You know what? Because when I go out to buy a car, I'm not just going to go, oh, wow, shiny, awesome, I'm going to buy it. I go, give me the keys, let me see, let's take a test drive. I got to look under the hood, even though I'm not a mechanic, but, you know. Or I bring someone that I know and trust that can look under the hood, right? If it's like a used car or some shit, right? Because that's how the free marketplace works. That's how the free marketplace of ideas works. What Carl wants is for it not to work that way, because either he's afraid, or my contention is that he's a demagogue and he's dishonest. I mean, in the last stream, I asked him specifically, I said, so Carl, and I was being very, very uncharacteristically nice about it, and uncharacteristically low tone. I had to concentrate to keep my voice low. And I said, well, Carl, so what you're saying is that your petition here is kind of a rhetorical device. Is that it? So to speak, I said, right? So to speak, I said. And he said, well, yes, that's what it is. It's a thing to get people talking. Why didn't you just fucking start the count? See, when you have an argument, when you have a legitimate argument, when you have evidence that pertains to the points you're going to make in that argument, when you put all your little duckies in a row and you've considered the opposition and what they might say or what they're likely to say or what they could possibly say in objection to your own points, in other words, you know, when you read and research and prepare shit, okay, then you go to that argument and yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. The problem for Carl is that he didn't have a leg to stand on. Well, I wouldn't call it a leg to stand on. He didn't have a point to make until after Aldous Valor on the, what was it, the second stream? I think it was the second stream that Aldous Valor joined in. He didn't have anything to say until Aldous Valor showed up, and then he glommed onto the idea that it was just political speech, and it's when the government does it and whatever. Because he never brought that shit up before. Never. Not once. Not once in the entire argument did he say, no, censorship is only when the government does it. He harped about, continually about, oh, well, it's what was it? It's censorship to want them to present factual evidence. It's censorship to want them to present factual evidence. So I'm an authoritarian because I want them to have peer review, which were all misrepresentations, gross misrepresentations of what was being argued. So I'm stuck, like I said, I'm stuck with either Carl is a fucking retard and he doesn't understand what the fuck he's saying, or more likely, he's an attention whore and a demagogue. And I can hear it every time with all of these people who are constantly arguing to me that, well, the problem is my voice. No, motherfucker. The problem is you don't have an argument. So you want to make it about anything else. You want to make it about the facts of the 1 in 5, which were never in dispute. Never was that a point of contention. Never. Never. Never was that a point of contention. But you want to make it about that as if that were a point of contention so that you don't have to address the bottom line argument. The bottom line argument, I heard people go, oh, well, so you were arguing semantics and in a circle. Motherfucker, this entire argument, the only argument that's ever been presented is this is what censorship is. I did, or this is what you claim censorship is. This is not what I think it is. We're talking about semantics. We're talking about the substance of the term censorship. And it's an argument Carl can't have. I'm sorry, either he's not equipped to have it, or like any demagogue, he doesn't want to have it because shit, V came up with the counter argument to what the fuck he was saying. Carl wants to suspend courses at universities. Okay, so presumably then, the journalists in Romania would suspend the journalists in Romania. But that wasn't what they did. What V said was they passed a law that requires that if you got some shit to say about somebody on TV or print media or whatever, and I'm paraphrasing, right? I haven't read the law. I am trusting V. I am saying that fuck me, for fuck's sake. I think V is slightly more credible than Carl. So I'm trusting what he says. So they pass a law in Romania that says that if you're a journalist and you want to fucking say some shit about somebody, and they say, hey, what the fuck? You got to give them equal time on your platform. So what you're telling me is that Carl's right to want to suspend these classes. And my example is this group of people over here who disagreed with misinformation or disinformation or whatever, right? This group of journalists. And what they did was they increased the amount of speech available. They didn't decrease it. They didn't suspend journalists. They required legally that journalists provide equal time. So Carl, uninvited, brought V, or well, Carl was invited on our stream. And he's such a pussy that he's got to bring his little friend to take care of him, to white knight for him. And he shows up, and then what the fuck happens? Carl's little white knight gives me on a silver platter exactly the refutation that he can't deny now. Their arguments are correct. They all of a sudden shifted to the proper definition of free speech when it suited them. Well, it's not that their arguments are correct. Well, no, their arguments are poor. There are 1,000,001 arguments that you can make that I would have zero problems with. And I've talked to people about this already. And it's not, see, somebody was on about how, oh, well, so you are for censorship. And what they were talking about was when somebody asked me, well, would you censor somebody who put up a video, I think, or something, instructing people to do a detrimental thing, right? I think it was air conditioners, right? There's a video about air conditioners somewhere on YouTube, or maybe it's not there anymore. And apparently it gives you instructions on putting dry ice into the AC or something. Anyway, the end result of if you do what the video says, you're going to die. And would I censor that? Yeah, I would. But see, I'm not going to make the specious bullshit claim that is because people are too stupid to read the instructions, or people can't be trusted to hear the video and then not do it. I would say to you that irrespective of any of that, in order to prevent a young person or something like that from doing what's going on in the video, you can censor that because it's a public health issue. And there's a rational justification for stopping that particular thing. Towel or some tissues for what? Did I at least? Oh, I have no idea what that. Let me see. So yeah, there are legitimate reasons to curtail the freedom of speech or your right to express yourself. There are. You right? I mean, it used to be. This is no longer the standard, the thing that they use to determine this in the courts. But there used to be the standard that whole thing about yelling fire in a crowded theater. Yeah, that's not protected either. Telling Susie to go kill Mark is not protected either. And I'm fine with all of that. But when you set your sights on a university and say, I don't like this speech, because that's what it is. That's what it is. Don't even go there. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it for a second. Carl has no evidence to support the notion that this is a detriment to students at all. He's got like an anecdote of one dude that I think says that he was involved in social justice shit and the activism made him tired and he had to go on Prozac or some shit. I'm sorry, that does not rise to the level of evidence. It's a story. It's a story that could be made up, and I don't know where it's coming from. And he's got no evidence to say anything about this shit. Now, if he could prove if he could prove a direct causal link between taking social justice courses and becoming an indoctrinated Prozac addict that needs safe spaces just to fucking breathe, then we have something to talk about. But this is where motherfuckers totally shit in their pants. Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn went to the UN to say how the comments on YouTube or on Twitter were cyber violence. And that was a thing, and we need to stop it. And the internet must be policed, and it must be, censored here and there, and certain websites can't be allowed to have their shit on. And everybody in the motherfucking manosphere collectively lost their fucking shit about how dare you, what the fuck are you talking about? Cyber violence is bullshit. And I'm just doing that right here. I'm telling you, what the fuck are you talking about? A fucking feminist conspiracy to what? To what? To what? To put out, to proselytize? You claim it's a religion. That's what religions do. They proselytize. So you're going to fucking sit there and tell me that you're okay with shouting down the two girls that went to... good night, sweetheart.
I'm going to go have a nap. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, go have a nap. It's been a long day.
It's still a long day.
It's still a long day. Yeah, they are. All right. We had a birthday party for two of the kids. So. All right. So, sorry. You're going to sit there and tell me that you got a problem with Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian going to the United Nations and demanding there be laws against this, what they consider cyber violence and shit. And you're in favor of banning, because that's what Carl is fucking saying. Banning courses because he doesn't like them. That is disingenuous at the very least. So when I say because Carl asked me on Twitter, he said, well, when did I lie to you? Every fucking time you open your mouth, every fucking time you have the audacity to try to sell me on the notion that your little petition isn't censorship, you're lying to me. Every time you try to explain it, you're talking shit. That's the bottom line. If you want to have a real discussion about how to reform or change what the fuck is going on in universities today, I'm all for that. But Carl wasn't doing that. Carl was sitting there going, yeah, I'm right, and fuck you. And some of his little minions are all fucking stressed out over my loud voice. Let me tell you something, assholes. Go to Vernaculous's video on how to spot a pseudo-intellectual. You're going to learn two motherfucking things off that video if you're paying attention. You're going to learn that when you insult someone, that takes nothing away from what they're saying, right? So when I claim the sky is blue And when I say the sky is blue, you fucking dickhead, those are the same. Go ask vernaculars. Don't ask me. And you're going to learn that sometimes, even though you're using a different word for something, it's the same motherfucking thing. And that's what Carl is doing here. He's using we're talking about two definitions of censorship. And what Carl is saying is that his is right because except that it's not, he's calling it it's not censorship. He's calling it something else. He's calling it something else. But it's the same motherfucking thing. Don't bullshit me. This is the fucking problem. Oh, but you also, if you're paying attention to Little Vernacular's video, one of the things you're going to come away with, if you're paying attention, is that I'm sorry, if you can think, if you know how to think, the point about what he might consider, I don't know, what he says is foul language, or what he uses his example, right? And I used a different one, so it's not the same. It's not the same example. When you listen to his example, the point of the example is to say that that extra word, that insult, is irrelevant to the point being made. Just motherfucking like my volume has not a fucking thing to do with my argument. I had one asshole in the chat the other day who knows full well, he's been in our chat room before. He knows full well that everybody on the SST fucking curses up a blue streak. He never had a problem, never said shit about it. But because I was attacking Sargon's position, now the fact that I use foul language, that somehow detracts from my argument. No, it fucking doesn't. No, it fucking doesn't. You want it to, because if you have to look at the real argument, what's really going on, your hero has shit all over himself. That's the bottom line. Carl doesn't have an argument. But then, you know, I mean, what do you expect from someone who's a demagogue? People that are demagogues don't have arguments. They generally tend not to have one. And when they do, it's usually accidental, at least from what I can tell. Yes, Vengeful Scarecrow, this is me ranting. Because my voice is loud does not mean I am ranting. Because I speak quickly, it does not mean I am ranting, dude. I am looking at the chat and actually trying to address what some of the people in the chat are saying. So, you know, I'm sorry, but that word is triggering me now. I'm sorry, dude. But the word ranting is triggering me now, because apparently I just chimp out. If you look at my Twitter stream, I'm not even gonna go to the, oh my fucking God, what the hell did you just say shit that I've seen on Twitter today. I need to get out of the jungle. And whoa, dude, put your racism in your pocket. Talk about the issues at hand. But, you know, it's Twitter, right? So what the fuck do you think you're going to get? So, yeah, you and Ms. B are going to generate a lot of haters. Of course. Of course. Pretty soon, only fence sitters and moderate feminists are going to listen. Well, you know, I'm sorry, but the issue is a very simple one. And I haven't been able to say it even as succinctly as this might have been before, because I censor myself sometimes too. And you have no fucking clue. I don't like when people talk shit to me or make claims that I don't do that fucking debate shit. That's not how it works for me. I don't care if people don't listen. I don't care. I care about arriving at the truth of the matter. And I fucking hate when people have put obstacles that don't need to be there, because we could be talking about other shit and not that. And losing ideologues couldn't possibly be a bad thing. Well, Yeah, I mean, there is that, right? But the truth is that from what I've seen from Carl's subscribers, more than they have more than a passing acquaintance with shit like racism. A lot of them are. I mean, you could, well, what's racism? Or, well, define your terms. Look, man, you can tell when someone's a racist. You can. You can tell. There are different degrees of being sure about it or not. But at least some of the people that I know follow Carl are racist. And you know what? I don't think I mind if they don't fucking keep following us or whatever. You know, that's on them, of course. Disagreement doesn't mean that you have to not follow somebody. But the idea, but I'm not gonna fucking sit there and pretend that I believe some shit that I don't. And I don't think Chris is gonna either. You know? So yeah. If you guys got questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. If not, I'm gonna cut this short because my kids want to keep playing Halo ODST, which I kind of like because it has that mode where firefight it's called, and that's fucking awesome. You're never gonna win everyone over. Yeah, you're right, and I'm not. It's not my intention really. I just want to put out there the arguments in sort of a row, so that if you're interested at all, you can follow them. Because I know a lot of people aren't dumb, you know, and I know a lot of people they do. You don't got to be dumb to fall prey to a demagogue, right? You don't. I mean, that's their job, right? Jenny McDermott has convinced people to give her money, right? Although doesn't quite rise to the level of demagogue, but you know, she's an attention whore, right? And in my view, so is Carl. But yeah, there's that. I just wanted to put it out there in one shot and fucking address the main contentions, the main problems that people have had with, you know, my voice and fucking not understanding what the argument was that was going on, which I think, you know, Carl and I were at best having two separate arguments at best. But yeah, that's it. And I guess I sort of figured out how to do a live stream, although Chris was here to walk me through it. So I might be doing more of these. I don't know on them what the fuck, but I doubt it. Whatever, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Have a good one, folks.